Hello and welcome to another Frankly Future Leader quick tip. And today I want to talk to you about systemic thinking. So what does it mean? The tools of systemic constellations are phenomenal and I love using them with clients. But when I say constellations, people go, huh? What do you mean by that? And actually, it's the systemic that really matters. It's the constellation is just a process, but the systemic part is what you should be interested in as a leader. So in your organizations, systemic thinking is about the different systems that exist in your organization that you need to pay attention to, both visible and invisible. And I think that's the interesting part about this. It's the invisible parts, which often are the parts that go neglected but cause the most havoc in an organization. So they might be things like cultural stuff that plays out, or a tricky supplier. And it's not so much the supplier, it's something that exists in the relationship between them and your organization. So systemic thinking and systemic approaches are really helpful for leaders. So particularly when you've got tricky, complex problems where you think you've looked at all the obvious solutions, but none of it seems to be making a difference. So systemic is really brilliant because it enables you to take a wider lens. So you have to step out and step back in order to look at the interrelationship of the different parts, the different systems at play in your organization. And often when you do that, and constellating is one way of doing that, you could just map it out with post-it notes on a whiteboard, for example, for a quicker, easier way. But often when you do that, what you start to see are the hidden links, the hidden stuff that might be playing out. And it's the space to look at is not the systems itself, it's the interrelationships between the systems. So the space between the different systems and forces at play. So if you have a tricky problem, try mapping out the different systems that are involved and step back as broad and wide as you can to look at the field from a different perspective and just get curious about the interplay that exists between those systems. Usually there'll be a bit more data for you to gather, and that can inform often a more informed decision, or at least maybe a different way of tackling a problem that might get you a different solution. So enjoy.